just another beautiful day in Colorado, so we haven't had much of a winter this year. Pretty much all the lakes aren't completely frozen all the way to the center, but you can still fish the edges just fine. So I'm going to be going out with my typical predator rig and then my trout fishing rig, and let's see what we can get out here today. On my predator rig, I'm just going to have an atomic teaser that I'll be jigging the entire time. And then on my actual trout fishing rig, I'm going to put a pink scented worm and I'm going to tip it with some waxworm meat. And that should be good enough to just keep out in the water just by itself. It's only snowed one time this year, and in town where I'm from, it's pretty much t-shirt weather in the morning in the middle of winter. So whenever I'm going to work, I can pretty much just walk out in a t-shirt. There's no snow on the ground, and it's probably about 50, 60 degrees right off the bat in the morning. Up here in the mountains, it's usually 10, 20 degrees colder. This particular spot is usually where I also go rabbit hunting. So I won't be fishing the open water this time. I'm just going to fish on this side and then maybe move over closer to the dam. And I'll probably have luck near the dam. As far as fish species, this is pretty much just a trout and a pike lake, which I've heard that it's like 97% trout and maybe like 3% pike. But I did encounter some fishermen who say that they consistently catch pike out of this lake. So there must be a few spots out here where you can actually find pike. As far as gear for this season, not much has changed, but I did acquire a new hiking stick and I also have a new pair of cleats. But these are like actual cleats. The spikes on them is maybe about an inch deep, unlike the Yak Trax, which is pretty much just like a wire coil wrapped around a piece of rubber. As far as the ice thickness, even though it's late December right now, it just recently froze, which means that it can still be inconsistent in some places, and even though it might be thick, it's still considered to be weak ice. You can hear cracking sounds a lot, and even sometimes when I look down and I take a step, I can see a crack form on the ice. Located in Park County, Colorado, nestled in the scenic foothills of the Rocky Mountains, this reservoir, though it's not as widely known as some of Colorado's other reservoirs or lakes, has an interesting history rooted in both natural geography and the development of the region. The land around the reservoir has long been inhabited by indigenous peoples, most notably the Ute, Arapaho, and Cheyenne tribes, who use the area for hunting and gathering. The natural landscape of the region, characterized by valleys, rivers, and rolling hills, provided a rich environment for these tribes to settle and thrive. In the 19th century, European settlers began to move into Colorado, driven by the gold rush and the promise of fertile land. The area was initially part of vast ranching territories, and like much of Colorado, it became a site of mining activity, particularly during the Colorado Gold Rush, 1859 onward. While gold wasn't abundant in the area surrounding Tarryall, the natural beauty and resources led to the eventual settlement of the region. The idea for constructing the reservoir began in the mid 20th century as the need for water storage in the region increased. The creek, a tributary of the South Platte River, was seen as a prime source of water, and the construction of a reservoir would serve both agricultural and municipal needs. In the 1950s, the reservoir was constructed primarily for water storage and irrigation purposes. The creek dam built to create the reservoir was designed to hold back water for irrigation use by local farms and to provide a steady water supply for the growing communities in and around the South Platte River Basin. This was especially important during times of drought when water resources were scarce. In the decades that followed, the reservoir became an integral part of the region's water management system. The reservoir is part of a larger network of dams and reservoirs built to support agriculture, industry, and municipal water demands. Over time, the demand for water increased, and reservoirs like this became essential in stabilizing water supplies for the local communities. In addition to irrigation, the reservoir is used for recreational purposes such as fishing and boating, making it a local spot for outdoor enthusiasts. The surrounding areas, including the nearby creek and the Pike National Forest, have drawn nature lovers, bird watchers, and hikers, especially in the fall and the spring when wildlife is abundant. Over the years, as with many bodies of water, Tarryall Reservoir has faced challenges related to water quality, sedimentation, and ecosystem health. Efforts have been made to preserve the water quality and surrounding landscape. These include watershed management practices designed to reduce pollution and protect the habitat of fish and other wildlife. The Colorado Division of Wildlife has also taken steps to ensure the reservoir remains a sustainable location for fishing, introducing various species of trout to the water and regulating fishing practices to maintain a healthy fish population. Rainbow trout are the most commonly stocked fish in the reservoir. They are popular because they grow quickly and provide good fishing opportunities for both beginners and experienced anglers. Rainbows are usually caught using bait spinners or flies and are known for their strong fight. They also have brown trout in the reservoir, though they are less numerous than rainbows. They tend to be more cautious and harder to catch, which makes them appealing to skilled anglers. Brown trout often grow larger and prefer deeper, cooler water, especially during the warmer months. Cutthroat trout are also in this lake. They are actually Colorado's state fish and are occasionally stocked in the reservoir. They are identifiable by the red or orange markings under their lower jaw. Cutthroats thrive in cold, clear water and are prized for their beauty and historical significance in the state. Kokanee salmon have been stocked in the reservoir in the past. These landlocked sockeye salmon live in deep water and are usually caught during cooler seasons. In the fall, they turn bright red during spawning, making them easy to spot and popular with anglers. The only time I've ever caught a kokanee was out on 11 Mile, but we're not here today, so probably won't catch one. And they also actually have a snagging season for them on 11 Mile each year, where you can go around on a boat and try to look for the schools and snag for them. Northern pike are present in the reservoir and are the largest predator fish found there. They are known for their aggressive behavior and sharp teeth. Pike are typically caught using large lures or bait fish and can grow quite large, making them a favorite among anglers looking for a challenge. Also, if you're ever swimming in a water with pike, you're actually more likely to get attacked by a pike than you are a shark. So, I've got my setup right here on the dam. Right where my auger is and my bucket is where my pink worm with maggot meat is. And then the hole where I'm standing right here is where I'm going to be jigging with just a regular atomic teaser, which that usually works for catching trout just fine on these little lakes. So I need to clear out my hole, so I usually keep all of my gear inside my bucket, which I need a ladle. So I'm just going to get that real quick and go back to my hole, and then I'm going to start jigging and we'll see what happens. So I just landed my first fish of the ice fishing season, and I'm pretty sure this is just a trout. He seems to fight a lot though. Or she, not really sure. But the way you tell if a trout is a male or a female is if the mouth goes past their eyes, that's a male, and if it is right in line with their eyes, that's a female. I just got a bite on my stationary rod and it looks like it's something big. This rod is also a lighter test, so it's a lot more of a fight, which kind of makes it more fun for catching fish. Alright, so I almost got this guy out of the hole, but I'm pretty sure I gut hooked him, so I'm probably going to end up hitting him in the head with a ladle and keeping him. So he's about a foot in length, which is pretty decent for a fish that I'm going to fry. So whenever it comes to dispatching fish, pretty much you just always want to whack them in the head to knock them out. And then if you don't like the taste of fish blood, you can also bleed them out by cutting their gills and letting them in the water for a little bit. And their heart will pretty much just pump the blood out into the water and they die. Well, it's starting to get late now, so I'm heading back home. I've got a fish to fry, and I'll see you guys next time. Hopefully, this winter gets colder, that way we can go back out on the ice. I'm also looking into maybe getting a ice fishing finder. That way I can go to deeper parts of the lake and start targeting lake trout.